need both the Fat Robin 16-point Mariner's Compass book and ruler and the 32-point Mariner's Compass book and ruler to complete 32-point blocks. 32-point blocks are constructed using the same technique as for making 16-point blocks, except you will start by making 16 little pies, which will take your 16-point blocks to 32 points. These little pies basically take the place of the background strip in a 16-point block. This tutorial will be even more helpful if you have already made a 16-point block before making this 32-point version. You should review page 1 in your Fat Robin 16-point book. Here it talks about the importance of your 1/4 inch seam and that you should not use steam when pressing during the construction of your block. There is also great info on page 2 of your 32-point book about general block construction. Also, please note that any references made to the Fat Robin companion booklet are one and the same as Chapter 2 of your updated Fat Robin 16-point book. You will also use some different angles for these blocks, which are not found on any other straight edge ruler. There is a transparency included in your 32-point book that you can attach to your own straight edge ruler. More information about this can be found on page 2 of your 32-point book. I also offer my own angle ruler that has all the same angles you would need for constructing any of my 16 or 32-point blocks. To begin, you will refer to the table in step 1 and find your size block. You will then cut the strips listed, cutting background, point 132, point 1, point 2, and inside point 3 strip. Please note that the strip widths are conservatively based on 42-inch width of fabric. If your fabric is wider than 42 inches, you may not need as many strips as listed. Also note that for this tutorial, we will be making an 18-inch block. You will be asked to refer to previous Mariner's Compass instructions and instructions in the Fat Robin 16-point Mariner's Compass book for this block. When referred back to a different chapter or book, I would recommend putting a sticky note at the end of the step listed, reminding you to go back to the original instructions. Start by making a strip set by sewing the background and point 132 strips together, right sides together, and offsetting by 48.75 degrees. To do this, you will put your straight edge ruler 48.75 degree line on the edge of the background fabric as close to the top of the strip as you can below the selvage. Take your point 132 fabric strip and place it right side down on the right edge of the background fabric at the 48.75 degree angle. Sew these strips together using an accurate 1/4 inch seam. Press the seam toward the background fabric by laying the point 132 fabric right side up on your ironing board in as straight a line as possible and pressing the background fabric up. Lay your pressed strip set right side up on the cutting board with the background fabric at the top. With the 48.75 degree line on the seam line, trim off the edge of the strip set. Flip the strip so that the point 132 strip is at the top. Place your 48.75 degree angle on the seam line and then cut your first building unit the same width as you cut your background fabric strip. If the angle and the cutting measurement are not lining up, simply flip the strip set and retrim before continuing to cut your units. You now have 16 units. Cut off the background triangles by lining up your straight edge ruler from a 1/4 inch line at the top of the unit seam line across to the opposite background corner. Tip: you can also use your 32-point ruler to make these cuts. Now you will make 2 cuts to these units using the fat kite C on your 32-point ruler. The first cut is left and low. Line up kite C lower left dashed line on the raw edge of the building unit. Place the solid line of the size block you are making from the left side of kite C on the seam line. Make the cut. You will slide the ruler down for the second cut, high and right. Place kite C right side dashed line of the size block you are making on the lower right raw edge. Also place kite C leftmost solid line of the kite on the seam line. Check the center line is on the bottom point of the unit. Make the cut. Make these cuts for all 16 units. Take the reserved background triangles and place right side up. Pull off the tiny triangles. Place a shaped unit right side down on top of the reserved triangle, matching the right edges and forming a ditch 1/4 inch from the right edge of the units. Sew an accurate 1/4 inch seam starting in the ditch so the unit will be flush on the side after pressing open. Start with your machine in the needle down position with the needle in the ditch to help verify the 1/4 inch. Make sure to sew a consistent 1/4 inch seam all the way down the unit. You can chain piece these units as you go. Press the seam towards the reserved triangle by laying the shaped unit right side up and pressing the reserved triangle piece up. Wing out. Now you have 16 fat robin little pies. Reserve 8 little pies for step 21. Next, we will refer back to steps 17 through 20 for a fat robin 32-point compass block. Lay one of the remaining 8 little pies right side down onto point 1 strip and mark or place a pin where little pie meets the right side of point 1. Rotate little pie onto point 1 strip just below the mark or pin and start sewing using an accurate 1/4 inch seam. Continue adding all 8 little pies, placing them about a 1/4 inch apart. Press the seam toward the little pies by laying point 1 strip right side up and pressing the little pies up. Rotate the strip so that point 1 strip is at the top. Place the 60-degree angle on the point 1 seam line and flush with the right side of little pie. Cut only the point 1 strip. You should now have 8 of these units. Next, you will shape these units following the instructions on page 7 of the Fat Robin 16-point Mariner's Compass book. Left and low, high and right. Next, you will take your 8 shaped units and add your 8 reserved little pies. Place the shaped unit right side down on top of little pie, matching the right edges, and creating a 1/4 inch ditch from the right side of the raw edges. Start sewing in the needle down position with the needle in the ditch to help verify the 1/4 inch seam. These units can be chain stitched. Press the seam towards little pie by laying the shaped unit right side up and pressing the reserved little pie up. Wing out. You should now have 8 pies. You will finish this compass block using the same steps as you would for a Fat Robin 16-point compass sunflower block. You will now go back to the instructions in your Fat Robin 16-point book and start with step 16 on page 9. In this block, we will not reserve 4 pies, but instead use all 8 for the next step. Offset your first pie on the point 2 strip. Sew all 8 pies onto the point 2 strips. Press the seams toward pie. Cut the units apart using the 82.5 degree line. You now have 8 of these units. Make the cuts using kite A of your original Fat Robin ruler. Left and low, high and right. You now have 8 shaped units. You will finish this block using the same steps as you would for a 16-point compass sunflower block. You will now refer back to the instructions in your Fat Robin 16-point book in the second Compass Companions chapter, page 3, starting with step 6. Place the first shaped unit right side down below the selvage onto the inside point 3 strip and start sewing with an accurate 1/4 inch seam. Continue sewing all 8 units. Press seam toward pieced unit. Wing out. Cut these units apart by placing the 82.5 degree line on the inside point 3 seam and flush with the right side of the pieced unit. Cut only the inside point 3 strip. Flip the units around and trim again using the 82.5 degree line. You now have 8 of these shaped units. Sew these units together by matching the point 2 seam. If you are putting a round center on your block, sew a couple stitches past the inside point 3 seam. For a reverse applique center, remember to stop stitching just past the inside point 3 seam. Press units as shown. Wing out. Continue sewing and pressing your block in the same manner until it is completed. Give your block a measure to see if it has sized correctly. There is additional information about pressing your block on page 1 in the finishing chapter of your Fat Robin 16-point book. You can now use a little steam or best press to give your raw block a final press. And your block should look as good on the back as it does on the front. Now you have a raw block to finish into any creative compass project. There is lots more information about finishing your blocks, both for the centers and for finishing your blocks into any background, in the finishing chapter of your Fat Robin 16-point book. There are also finishing videos available on my website under the Video Tutorial tab and on my free app. To download my app, search Robin Ruth Design at the App Store. Thanks for watching and happy compassing!